Welcome to the What a Play podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Hewitt, and we're going solo today. So, first of all, I hope you guys had a wonderful Halloween. As we head into week 9, I saw, and I love seeing these athletes. They do certain things with their yards. Myles Garrett, I thought was the best. He had a pretend car crash, and all the skeletons had jerseys of the quarterbacks that he had sacked, which I found was hilarious. So, Myles Garrett goes out every year and does these things. It's great. It's awesome. But let's first begin with what happened in week number 8. So in the first game, we had the Ravens and Browns. If you remember, we had the Ravens winning. Jameis Winston's first start. He was going to look rusty, probably turn the ball over because that's what Jameis Winston does. And what I came out of this game was very simple. I'm concerned for Baltimore. They are not good against the pass. And I knew they weren't good. This was the first game I was like, what is that? They had a chance to win the game they had their final drive. A chance to go score a touchdown, and then they just start making some really weird decisions. Lamar ends up having to throw it up in the end zone. Zay Flowers falls down. Game is over, and Lamar Jackson spikes his helmet right into the ground. It wasn't a toss it thing. This was a spike. He was upset. And we talk a lot about these guys have to control their emotions. Talked about Caleb Williams and about how he didn't deal with it well. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But Lamar's got to really keep himself composed. I understand you're upset you lost. I get it. We criticize everyone about not keeping their emotions in check. The 3 guys we don't criticize about keeping their emotions in check: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. We never question it. When a lot of times, those are the 3 that have something to say. I can give you a good example. The Raiders played the Chiefs. We will talk about it. But there was a weird play that happened. The Chiefs are up, winning the game. The ball is gone out of Mahomes' hands. It's roughing the passer if he gets touched. So he did get touched a little. He got a little body shot. But Allen does this. Mahomes does this too, and it annoys the complete hell out of me. They take a little shot, and instead of flex oh, you're gonna have to hit me more than that or something, they flop. They flop like an NBA player. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And Josh Allen is not gonna flop like normal. He flops like he's not even an NBA player, it's like a soccer player. Have you ever seen a soccer player? They get hit a little and they fall down and they make it look like they just got someone went and took them and pulled them really hard. It was the most ridiculous things. It's like someone slides to get the ball away from them. They fall over. Instead of getting up, they're holding their knee as if something happened to their knee, and then they get up 2 minutes later and they're fine. They're not hurt. They get up and then they're running again. It's not a big deal. But they make it sound they're looking for sympathy. This is what me and my family talk about all the time. We say this all the time about these players. That no one's going to sympathize with you. You're in a position no one's going to sympathize with you unless something happens. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes do it all the time. We'll talk about this hit Mahomes because he gets kind of body shot a little bit, and he flops down like as if he's got hit by a truck. He did not hit you that hard. But you flop down. You're going to get the flag anyway. I understand that. There's no reason to flop down like that. Come on. You've been hit way harder than that. Josh Allen says, have you look at the NFL mic'd up moments when the Bills played the Titans? Jeffrey Simmons kind of hits him a little bit, and Josh ref, what are you gonna do? And Jeff kind of runs away and kind of does this, boo hoo kind of thing, because it's true. I don't know what happened. At some point, these quarterbacks thought they were NBA players and say they don't want to be hit, but they want to be treated like an NFL player an NFL player gets hit. I don't get it. But Lamar, keep your emotions in check, but the Ravens did not look good on defense. Kyle Hamilton has a chance to win the game. It's going to be an interception. It hits him right in the hands, and then he just bobbled. He had butterfingers, as the old saying would go. He had butterfingers. And then Jameis Winston on the next play throws a touchdown to Cedric Tillman, who had a great game. And that's how they won. Jameis Winston's going to give you opportunities. You got to understand that and take every opportunity to make sure you get your offense the ball back. You can't have that happen to you, especially Kyle Hamilton. He's way too good of a player. But props to the Browns. They played hard. That doesn't look like a team that is tanking at all. Also, it was a big decision for Stefanski. He actually gave play calling duties to Ken Dorsey, the former Bills offensive coordinator. It was a big move for him to do that. He did. It looked good. The showing was positive, I thought. Next up, Jets vs. Patriots. Patriots winning this thing 25-22. I did not have Jets in my next week, so I can say this from Thursday night's perspective. The team I saw on Thursday night and the team I saw against this Patriots team is different. They're different. But I am concerned. Very. Let's talk about this Patriots loss. They don't run the ball consistently. And when they do, they have some success. But they don't do it enough. And Aaron's not on the same page as a lot of these guys. And Aaron's not playing great. It's an issue. I'm not saying New England was good, but I'm questioning this defense. I really am. They don't tackle well. They don't stop the pass consistently enough. They don't stop the run consistently enough. They don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. You have all these great players. You have Hassan Reddick. You have Quentin Williams. You should get pressure. You're not. You have Will McDonald. You should get pressure. Jermaine Johnson, you should get pressure. Why on earth are they not getting pressure? They have the 4 best defensive linemen. If you're talking about core 4, that's pretty much it. Any defense would love to have one of those guys. You got 4 of them, and you can't get pressure. It's not good. The secondary is a struggle. But I liked what I saw in the Houston game that they played defensively. They looked good. But I don't know if that's more of Houston being bad or the Jets being good. Because there was some heroic plays by Rodgers. He threw a good ball to Garrett Wilson. One-handed snag was a great play. Probably the catch of the year. It's a great play. And that's it. The announcer says it, and I completely agree. That is, my guy is better than your guy. My guy's will beat your will. And he did. He did. I also want to make this abundantly clear. This was a penalty fest. Sean Hockley was making sure he was on camera as much as possible. They were on all the time. And the Texans just didn't play good in the second half. And I think this is a lot of YouTubers have said this. The AFC South is strange this year. There's a lot of teams that are bad, and you know they're bad, and then there's teams that are good that aren't playing great at the moment. The AFC South is confusing. Jacksonville hasn't played good, but they played good the last 2 weeks. The Titans, no, they're bad. They're really bad. On offense, anyway. Defense, they're not much better. And I don't care what the stats say. You don't lose a game 52-0. Or 52-14, whatever the score was. Might as well 101-0. You don't lose a game that much. And say, well, our defense is good. No, you gave up 200 plus yards in the return game. No. And the 5 touchdowns, they had 5 touchdowns. That was on your defense. That's on you. Doesn't matter if they throwing it from 2 yards out. You got 5 touchdowns scored on you. That's on you. But the Colts, they're not a very talented roster, but they're overachieving. And now that Joe Flacco is starting, which we will talk about, they'll probably overachieve even more. But the Houston Texans, who have the better roster than the Colts do, are underachieving. Like a lot. They're making poor mistakes. They're turning the ball over. Pre-snap penalties, post-snap penalties. There's just a what is going on kind of thing. It's the best way I can describe it. Really is. But back to this Jets and Patriots game. Drake May goes out with an injury in the second quarter. Here comes Jacoby Brissett. And then you're like, okay. Like I gotta put my cards on the table here. I left this game. I was watching and I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm not watching this anymore. And I look at it and I laughed at the end of the game. I laughed. Once I saw the Patriots score a touchdown, I laughed. I had family. And I told them that and they laughed. Because it's the most ridiculous thing. The worst team probably in football, the Patriots, beat you and went on a game-winning drive with their backup quarterback against your best corners. And it was Jacoby Brissett and Kevin Boutte. That's what they're doing. Over again. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. It was ridiculous. I'm like, is this a JV defense at this point? They're so bad. They had 3 timeouts. They used the first half timeout in the first 13 minutes of the game. What? It was ridiculous. And I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the excuses for the Jets. It's ridiculous. The Jets can't have any more excuses. Who are you else going to blame? The equipment manager? At this point, it's ridiculous. The Jets aren't a good team. They're not. If they gotta play Buffalo, they gotta play Miami twice. I don't know if they can survive. They gotta play Buffalo again. They gotta play Miami twice. And I think if I remember correctly, they still gotta play Baltimore. They're gonna die at some point. This isn't gonna work. They looked good on Thursday night, but I think that's more about Houston than the Jets. Because even the Jets tried to lose that game. They tried. Next up, Titans-Lions. We talked about this game. 52-14 was the score. It was just frustrating to watch the Titans. The game was actually close at one point. It was 17-14. And then Titans didn't score again. And the Lions went on a roll. That's the way I can say it. There's no other way. How do I describe that? There's no other way to describe that. They went on a roll. They outscored them. And they out-returned them. They performed better. Their defense was solid. They got pressure on the quarterback. They forced mistakes. Jared Goff had 85 yards passing, but he had like 5 touchdown passes. They had David Montgomery throw a touchdown pass to Sam Laporta. Okay? Like, this is what they're doing. They're toying with people. They're that good that they can toy with you. It's an every week occurrence. It's an every week occurrence. You see a flea flicker, or a reverse, or a running back pass, a lateral, to a offensive lineman. Offensive lineman scoring a touchdown. It's every week. There's a nuance to their offense. And you're seeing it every single week. There's something different. Like we talk about, if Ben Johnson does not get a head coaching job next year, I don't know what you have to do to get a head coaching job. I don't know. What do you have to do? You have to go under Sean McVay for a year and then say, oh, boom, job, here you go. Remember that, like, there was a period of time when he was saying that? Like, if you met Sean McVay at any point of your life, you got a head coaching job? Yeah, that might be what Ben Johnson has to do. Because he's been great. He has been. And trick play after trick play after trick play is happening. Running back passes, tight end rounds, various things. They have kept these receipts for 50-something years, and Ben Johnson is toying with people. Plain and simple. Next up, Chiefs Raiders. 27-20 was the score at the end of the game. I'm concerned at this point. At what point does this Chiefs offense do anything? They brought in DeAndre Hopkins. He has another week with the offense. But at what point do they do anything? They trade for Josh Uche. That's a good trade, I think, for them. But they got to do something. They got to do something. At some point, they have to do something. They're going to play teams that have an offense that they can't stop. So how do you stop it? How does your defense react to, okay, this team's not just going to score 20. They're going to go score 30. You know? How is this offense going to react when they have to go and be like, hey, our defense is letting us down. We got to go score points. I don't know. But right now it's working, 27-20. But they barely beat a Raider team. And they play Denver. They play the Raiders again on Black Friday. They got to play the Chargers again. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And final game here is Cowboys vs. 49ers. 49ers winning the game 30-24. Don't look at the score for that game. The game wasn't that close. I'm looking at this, if I'm the Cowboys, as, okay, if we took the final 2 drives, that's what we have to do. Quick, tempo stuff. Which makes sense. But they got to find a way to run the football at some point. They got to. It's been 5 years they can't run the football. They can't. It's not like the Steelers offense, where, okay, they get 4 yards, okay, they got 5 yards or something like that. They can't even get yards at all. Rico Dowdle, the top running back, was out. So Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook were carrying the load. Don't know why. Dalvin Cook, 2.9 yards a carry. I think Zeke had 3.1 yards a carry. And that was it. And at one point, the run game actually looked fairly decent, and then it died again. And that's a problem. And they don't help the quarterback out. They don't help Dak out. They don't help CD out. We want to blame all this on Dak. And you can blame him a lot. Absolutely. You can blame CD a lot too. You gotta blame some of the system that they're doing. It's not helpful to the quarterback. You gotta figure stuff out. You can't have these pre-snap penalties. You can't have these get behind the chains and let's try to run the football. It doesn't work. You don't get enough yards. You play Atlanta this week. You're going to have time to throw the football, hopefully. So try to get something going, and then in the weeks build on it, because you still have a chance. Actually, if you're the Cowboys, you're 3-4. You say, okay, we're holding on, but we got to find a way to win against Atlanta. That's not even a question. Simmons is probably going to play. He wasn't on the injury report. Luke Ororo is out, so that's some defensive line help that they don't have, I should say. The offensive line is banged up. You should win this. At least put more pressure on Kirk Cousins. That's what I mean. You should win at least in the trenches. It should not be, okay, we can't even get pressure on the guy. And therefore we have to blitz like 8 guys and hope we can stay in coverage with a very banged up secondary. And for the 49ers, look, it was not pretty. Defense struggled early, but then they found a way to pull it back together. Offense, I'm scared. I'm scared. At some point, Christian McCaffrey will come back. But at what point? I don't know. Jawan Jennings will come back, but at what point? I don't know. You can't afford to lose any more games in this. You can't. You're 4-3. Technically, you're hanging on, but yeah. No, I mean you're 4-4. I'm sorry, you're 4-4. Technically, you're hanging on. Technically, you gotta be better, though, because as Seattle, you still gotta play again. You still gotta play the Rams again. Still got Cardinals again. Can't have the showings you had. Can't happen. And then you still gotta play the Lions. I think they still play Baltimore. Like, those are hard. And that could put you behind the 8 ball for good. So you have to be careful. But a good win for the 49ers. Very good one. Let's move into the news. Stephon Diggs tears his ACL, done for the season. I don't think it would have helped the effort against the Jets. I don't think it was good. Plus, also, people had a really hard time yesterday to stay healthy. Will Anderson kind of got banged up. Will McDonald got banged up. The Jets safety Oliver got banged up a little bit. Came in, came back out. Sauce Gardner got banged up a little bit. It's hard to play on a short week, but no one likes playing at MetLife. That's the reason. The Vikings made a trade. Cam Robinson and a 2026 7th round pick get sent to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a 2026 conditional 6th round pick by the Jaguars. To the Jaguars, excuse me. Robinson is a good left tackle. He's good. He's a good left tackle. But we know what he is. He's going to be okay. The Vikings are perfectly all right with it. That's better than what they got. It's what you do. I think he plays this weekend because I don't think they want to put Christian Berry out there. Like I said, the Chiefs have made a trade for Josh Uche, sending a 2026 sixth-round pick to the New England Patriots. That's when you look at teams that do this, and they didn't send anything really. A conditional 6 is it. And you're gonna get a good player. Can't say anything wrong about that. Can't. It's a good play for them. It is. The Ravens also made a trade, trading for Deontay Johnson. The Ravens saw that, okay, here, the Bills have made a trade, the Jets have made a trade, the Chiefs are making trades. We got to make a trade. They trade for Deontay Johnson and a 2025 sixth-round pick, conditional, 2025 sixth-round pick, yes, and sent a 2025 fifth-round pick to the Panthers. Again, sending them nothing and getting more in return. It's not a bad deal. And you get to basically steal a Steeler from somebody else. Why not? It's a great move. Now, talking about this quarterback change in Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson benched. Will Joe Flacco stand up? Okay, you sir, you're the quarterback. Let's go. This needed to happen. Look, this is not a good team right now. The quarterback has to be good. It has to be consistent. Joe Flacco has been. He's kind of found this little point of his career where he's back on the uptick, and that's very important. It's also going to be good for Anthony Richardson to go and be like, I have to learn. I have to learn at some point. This is the time. Because you got to understand, when he came out of college, and I said this, we said it here, and I said it on the NFL World YouTube channel. You can't give a guy like Anthony Richardson that high of a pick. He's such a project. And making him that high of a pick makes him have to start right away. And quarterbacks are failing at an alarming rate. Like, I haven't seen rookie quarterbacks look good that come out of the top 5 in a while. And they immediately get it. Like, people can say, well, look at Mahomes. I'm like, you forget something. Mahomes was sitting his first year. He sat. Alex Smith was the quarterback. Alex Smith taught him what to do. Whether he actually said it, okay, Patrick, this is what you do, or he just picked it up watching Alex play, he saw it and learned, and now, okay, here's how we do this. Josh Allen started right away. Didn't look great the first 2 years, but he got it going. The point is, I haven't seen a quarterback in the first round look really good. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are the 2 guys. That tells you something. I haven't seen it in a while, maybe even ever. They're the first 2 guys. They've looked good. CJ Stroud looked good last year, so I should probably put him in there as well. CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. And it still took some time, but you do things to help them out. RG3, Andrew Luck before them. So I guess I can't say ever, because there's those guys. So there's, I guess, Andrew Luck, RG3, CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels. But it's so rare and so far in between. It needs to be discussed. Sit the guy Get a capable bridge quarterback, let him teach, and figure it out at that point. That's what you do. They're going to learn while playing, but they're going to learn more of the beginning part of the NFL if they're sitting and watching. It's the reason why you're in school and you sit down and you listen to the teacher. That quarterback is the teacher, except instead of teaching on the board, he's teaching on the field. That's what he's doing. And it was a decision that had to be made. So it was made. Whether people like it, whether they don't, it is up to them. The most Bears thing ever was in that game against Washington, They had multiple opportunities to score touchdowns. They fumble because they wanted to get a defensive lineman the fridge moment, and he fumbled. Just hand it to the running back, man. Next time to get back down the field, DeAndre Swift runs it in, touchdown. And the most Bears thing ever happens. Commanders have 2 seconds left on the clock. Have to heave it up. Daniels runs around. Heaves it. The ball gets deflected. Caught by Noah Brown. Touchdown. Game over. They win the game. 18-12. 18-15. 18-15. But you say, how does that happen? How does that happen? I'll explain. Before that happened, a very young corner, Stevens, is taunting the fans. And Caleb Williams said, hey, get back, get back, get back. And you can see as he's saying this on TV. This Mike isn't saying it, but you can see in the way he's reacting. He's like, get back, get back, get back. And Stevens is too busy talking to the fans. And as the play is snapped, he's still talking. And as the guys are running, he's still talking. He doesn't know what's going on. And finally, those guys get to the circle when he notices. And instead of doing his job, he ran to the circle. He's the guy who has to cover Noah Brown. But it would have been okay. It would have been okay if instead of having his hand like this, he has his hand like this. He goes down like that. Down like this. Instead, he does this, pops up in the air, touchdown over. It's improbable. But it's because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. If you were covering Noah Brown, that doesn't happen. If you keep your hand like this instead of like this, that doesn't happen. So you lost off 2 things. And they both concerned a young rookie corner who is starting, who's played well. Gotta know the time. Gotta know the time. The old saying goes, the game is not over until the fat lady sings. Is the old saying. The game is not over until it's 0.00. That's when the game's over. And that ball hits the ground. Hasn't happened. And it bite the Bears in the behind. Next up, Cowboys activate DaRon Bland off IR. He's not playing this week. He's been ruled out. He's not playing this week. They did this because they used up all the 21-day practice window. If they didn't use it, therefore, he would go back onto IR and be done for the year. So they activate him, put him on the 53, rule him out. He's done for the week, and then that's it. That way they can talk. Let's see if he can be ready for next week. That's what they're doing. He wasn't gonna play. He didn't practice on Wednesday, Thursday. Didn't practice Friday. Ruled out. That's how it works. Micah Parsons didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Ruled out. Next up, Jameson Williams being investigated by the police. Actually, there was some things, I saw this on Reddit this afternoon where they issued a warrant for his arrest. Now, I don't know if this was 100%. I would have to do more research, and I will, and I'll have it for you guys on Monday. But I do know they were investigating him off an issue they had a year ago where they had found weapons in his car. He wasn't arrested. I don't know why. They don't know why. That is the reason. So there is a warrant according to this Reddit, issued for Jameson Williams. But I'll have to do more research. I will have that for you guys on Wednesday. On Monday, excuse me. Monday at the latest, Wednesday. Next up, fresher legs for the Buffalo Bills as Von Miller returns from his suspension. This came from the suspension from last year when Miller was involved in a situation with his girlfriend, and the NFL waited a very long time before giving this out. Gave it out. Now he returns in this game. I've said this here. I'm not a fan of the finding system. I'm not a fan of the suspension system. I don't think it shouldn't have taken this long. The fact that it did shows the NFL works on their pace. They want it done quickly, they will. They want it to be a slow, painful thing, they will. It's how they operate. I don't know why, but that is the case. And possible trades that I wrote down. This is a possible stuff. So this is just rumor stuff. So Zadarius Smith is very possible. Nick Chubb is very possible for the Browns. I saw Myles Garrett. I don't think so. Not too high of an asking price. Mike Williams, obviously. That one has been announced pretty much that they would trade him at some point. They got a few days. Got to figure that out. And we'll have anything that comes out over that time frame. I want to make another one here. Let me think. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, that could happen if Tennessee just wants to blow it up. If they're not, maybe Tony Pollard, maybe Cedric Wilson from Miami. But there's not really a big name guy. Not at this point. Not at this point. It's just not there right now. Unless something happens that completely has the shock waves going. But as of now, no idea. Next up, we have the Week 9 previews. We have the Cowboys at Falcons. Falcons favored by 2.5. This depends on a lot of fantasy for people, okay? If there are people doing fantasy football, this depends. I have Kirk Cousins, I have Dak Prescott. And for the last few weeks, I've played Dak, and Dak hasn't played well for me. And, Kirk played really well against Atlanta. I don't know why I didn't start. But if Trayvon Diggs, who has a little bit of an injury, he's listed as questionable. The injury report came out, and he's listed as questionable. DaRon Bland out. If you're fantasy footballers, I'd take Kirk Cousins really on that department. Now, who wins this game? That's a different argument. I think the answer is Dallas wins. Just because I think Atlanta doesn't get a lot of pressure, and that might help out Dak, at least for right now, and help get some of his guys on the same page of what they're supposed to do. So, but Jesse Bates not nearly, did win the game for them against Tampa, so it's up in the air. But I'm gonna put some good juju out in the air and say the Cowboys win this game 31-28 and get back to 4-4 and then go from there. Next up, I also do want to say the Falcons defensive lineman Luke Ororo, he is out. So just want to make that abundantly clear as well. Next up, Patriots at Titans. 3.5-point favorites. The Titans are. I said the Patriots are going to win 2 in a row. They're going to find a way to win. Drake May is questionable. The team is hoping that he is able to go. Has to clear concussion protocol. But even with Jacoby Brissett, that showing that he had against the Jets, I think is enough to beat the Titans. So I have the Patriots winning this game 24-17. Next up, Broncos at Ravens. 9.5-point favorites. The Broncos have a great defense. They're very stealthy. Good against the run, good against the pass. The Ravens defense, good against the run, horrible against the pass. I have the Ravens winning, but it's going to be a close game. It's going to leave us to a lot of questions about this defense and should there be a change. And should they go get somebody? So I have the Ravens winning this game, but a lot of questions. 28-24. Next up, Detroit Lions at Green Bay Packers, plus 3.5 for Green Bay. That might go up, that might go down. Jordan Love is listed as questionable with a groin issue. Could have been far worse. But if not, it is Malik Willis to start. He's going to have to run for his life. Whoever the quarterback is for Green Bay is going to have to run for his life. This Detroit Lions defense has been really good. And the showing that Green Bay had on offensively, not great. Not great. Now that happens because you have a backup quarterback in there too. So all has to be said. But I got the Lions. The Lions find a way to win. They win this game 35-24. Final game, Monday Night Football. Bucs vs. Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 9. This game would have been so exciting if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were playing. This is a very underrated team to get Mike Williams, by the way, the Buccaneers are. I have the Chiefs winning this only because Baker has not played well since Evans and Godwin have been out. He threw 3 touchdowns. That's a positive. But Sterling Shepard got banged up too. I got the Chiefs. But it's not going to be a high-scoring game either. I got the score 24-20 Chiefs. And that is it for the What I Play podcast. Let me know in the comment section who you guys are going to have winning this week. And also, what did you think about what trades are possible to happen before the trade deadline? For the What I Play podcast, I'm Jacob Hebert. We will see you next week.